like right now, RFK is in front of a Senate committee discussing his qualifications for being Health and Human Service Secretary, and it is I don't know. It's just a ridiculous, I don't know, expression of political. God, I mean, it's just. I mean, this guy, who is a conspiracy theorist, who is an anti-vaxxer, who is an anti-farmer, who probably lies about a lot of things that he believes in or doesn't believe in for his own financial gain. This is it's a clown show. I like that, Emmett Morris. It's a clown show. It's a clown show. Now it's a clown show. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. It's infuriating that RFK is even nominated to a position like this. He's not qualified. He's the opposite of qualified. He could be incredibly destructive in a position like this, and it sends basically the wrong message to Americans. It sends the wrong message to healthcare providers. It sends the wrong message to pharma and people at the front lines, kind of trying to solve the healthcare issues of Americans. The one virtue he has, where he talks about eating better and exercising and doing stuff like that, you could get somebody sane saying the same stuff. You don't have to have somebody who is a complete nutcase to advocate for eating well and exercising. It's part of the clown show here Republicans who, I remember not that long ago, were really upset at Mayor Bloomberg for threatening or actually executing, I think, on a tax, like a special tax on, what is it, big soda, on big tubs of soda because it was unhealthy. Now they want to nominate somebody who'd like to tax most of our food because it's unhealthy, that wants the federal government to basically regulate our food from the top down in terms of its health. So now we have Republicans wanting to micromanage our diet. It used to be Democrats who wanted to do that. The whole layout of this hearing is interesting because Republicans don't like RFK because of his stance on abortion. But they love his anti-pharma, anti-science, anti-vax, stupidity over COVID, and a bunch of other things. Anything conspiratorial, all this, whatever conspiratorial things, they love that. They'll jump on that. And the Democrats are now suddenly, they're the pro-science, pro-vaccines, pro-whatever, and anti-conspiracy theories, and they're attacking, RFK because he's part of a administration that's going to be anti-abortion. And it's just, the whole line of questioning is absurd and ridiculous. I mean, this is theater. It's comedy. So Tom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, literally asks RFK if he's a conspiracy theorist. Talk about a softball question, that can only be hit for a home run. I mean, really? RFK, of course, says, me? A conspiracy theorist? That is not true. It's just a way to malign me because I ask questions. I've just asked difficult questions. That's all I'm doing. I don't have a position. I just literally ask difficult questions. And they label me a conspiracy theorist because they want to silence me because they don't like that I ask difficult questions. This is in a hearing that's supposed to tell us whether RFK is qualified to be. We're learning nothing in the hearing except that RFK is very good at lying. He keeps saying, I'm not anti-vax. I support vax. My kids are vaccinated. I love vaccines. I think vaccines are great. What about all your statements in the past that are clearly, unequivocally you're anti-vax. Only Democrats are asking these kind of line of questions. And he goes, oh, taken out of context. They didn't understand the point I was trying to make. They don't get it. In other words, RFK is lying through his teeth. He's asked about his position on pharma, his anti-pharma position. He's generally he's against all these drugs that are now being used for weight loss, which are showing unbelievable promise in terms of all kinds of other diseases. He's against a lot of what pharma does, and I'm not against pharma. Me, RFK against pharma. That is, equivalent of defamation. I just ask difficult questions. I just want to know the science. I mean, this guy is, he's a horrible human being by every account of his personal life. He is a anti-science. He came out during the hearing as pro-measles vaccine. When he went to Samoa to try to convince them not to use the measles vaccine, a number of kids died as a consequence of kind of an anti-vax movement over there. He just sits there and lies. And senators, we are supposed to learn something new about him, about his stance, about what he represents. The whole proceedings of confirmation have become public. The public proceedings are just a joke, right? They're just a joke. Republicans should admit that they will basically vote yes for anybody that Trump nominates. And Democrats should admit that for the most part, they'll vote no, although that's not always the case. Some Democrats have voted for some of Trump's nominees. And stop playing this game. Trump wants him, we'll appoint him. That's all that matters to these Republicans. And this process, so-called process, is just an expression of a farce, dishonest, and a way to just bamboozle the American people. Joshua, you don't know what you're talking about. You really shouldn't talk about things you don't know anything about. It's pretty sad to watch people on my chat spout complete and utter nonsense. He says, the reality is we have more vaccinations, but somehow we get more people who suffer from disease. No, we don't, actually. The vaccinations are targeting particular diseases, and those diseases where we have vaccinations, the disease rate has gone close to zero. People who get vaccinated don't get those diseases. There's no measles really in America today. There's certainly no polio. If you go IVF, what do you call that? Cervical cancer is caused by a virus. We have a vaccine against that. The number of cervical cancer cases have plummeted, have just unbelievably plummeted. Research project after research project after research project trying to find a connection between vaccines and autism finds no connection between vaccines and autism. On every one of the points that he makes, on every single one of the points that he makes, there's no correlation with vaccines. Down syndrome's up because of vaccines. I don't know why Down syndrome's up. I don't even know if that's true. But, but has anybody shown that as related to vaccines? No. Nobody has shown that. Indeed, the studies that have been done show that they're unrelated, that there's no correlation between Down syndrome. So, correlation is not causation. So a lot of things have happened over the last 20 years, and things have increased. You can't, because they've all gone up, doesn't mean they're related to one another. They cause one another. So if it's true at all, there is no studies out there that show a causal relationship between the two. You know, since the Yaron Brook show started in January 2015, the number of people with Down syndrome and autism has gone up significantly. I mean, I think it's quite clear that the Yaron Brook show is causing that. I mean, God, help us. All right. Another issue that came up while RFK was speaking was, you know, there's been a lot of controversy. It's gone to the courts about mifepristone, mifepristone, or whatever, something like that. It's basically the abortion pill. The abortion pill, which the FDA has been approved since 2000 for use up to 10 weeks of gestation. It has been studied thoroughly because it's been used for a long time. And it has been shown that this is one of the safest pills anybody can take, the safest Tylenol. And yet Republicans, in order to try to ban abortion pills, have argued it's not safe, it's wrong, and they've taken it to courts, and they've lost in courts, but it's still in the courts in Texas. And there's a real effort among Republicans to ban this abortion pill. And even though it's completely safe and everything, RFK has said that President Trump has asked him to look into it, to assess objectively, completely scientifically, because that's RFK. He's completely objective and completely scientific, the safety of this drug, even though it's been assessed, it's been reassessed, it's been studied, it's been used by tens, hundreds of thousands of women. And RFK said, well, of course, Donald Trump has asked me, he's the president, I will do it. Tylenol is pretty safe. Come on. Safe as Tylenol is not as strong an argument as it used to be. If you take Tylenol once, almost nothing is going to happen to you. You don't take mifepristone more than once. It's as safe as Tylenol is really, really, really strong argument. Tylenol, if you take huge quantities of it, will do all kinds of bad stuff to you. That's true of anything. I'm sure it's also true of mifepristone. So, no, it's as safe as Tylenol, and that's a real thumbs up for it. Meribins, who is a biologist, a scientist, who actually usually knows what she's talking about, except for some of her, super chats. Some of them I have no idea what she's talking about, but here she says, people are having kids at old ages when chromosomal aberrations are more common. Nothing to do with vaccines or pathogens or anything like that. That's absolutely right. Thank you, Mary Benz. You're going to see, as women have babies at older and older ages, you're going to see more challenges. As people generally have, you've got a lot more genetic problems with couples that have babies at later ages. So that is probably, most likely, the cause of this. So thank you, Mary Benz, for bringing some sanity into, Joshua Nice says he can halfway agree with us on this because the other half, it's like the half where he's using his mind, he agrees with us. The half that's dedicated to reason, he agrees. The half that is still ingrained with, I don't know, mystical tribalism, he can't bring that around. So anyway, we're going to have a Health and Human Services lead who is probably the most anti-science that we have ever had. Anti-science in the science that we're talking about, in the science that is health that we're talking about. And the fact that he has a few positive, good things to say does not justify the nonsense and craziness of so much else that he's doing. All right.